The Yema Urban Traveler is an impressive integrated bracelet watch which recently was on discount for 596 euros. Fresh blue dial, in-house movement and good finishing. That's actually great value for money, and for that amount I couldn't resist. This watch actually was decommissioned from their offerings, either because it was too good or too bad. In my opinion, they should have kept it because it was truly a great value proposition and an anchor to the affordable watches segment. In exchange, for the urban sport watches category, they prefer to add a slimmer micro-rotor in-house movement, moving basically the collection up towards 2000 euros. In my opinion, because this watch basically was offering the same case, the same bracelet, the same finishing level, I believe there weren't sufficient reasons to pay above 2 grand for the same watch with a micro-rotor, where you could have bought this gem with an automatic in-house movement for 596 euros. So why is this Yema Urban Traveler valuable? If we roll back, I think it was quite a challenge out there to create a sports integrated bracelet without being genta, if it makes sense. People were actually getting sensitive when it came to watches inspired from Patek Philippe or Audemars Piguet. To give you an example, the Bell & Ross BR05 received quite a lot of hate back in the days. However, some brands managed to sneak some cool designs into this non-genta trend. Here we can mention the PRX as being a reissue after their 70s precise and robust model, but also this urban traveler inspired, they say, from diverse elements from Yema's past. This is a watch which gets quite a lot of wrist time. I have it for a month, and by the time passes it feels like I appreciate it more and more. It feels like I'm rediscovering the watch every time I'm wearing it, and although maybe it wasn't intended, but this is quite a well-balanced watch and I'll have to explain why. Compared to the PRX, this urban model design and features wise feels to be a bit more complex and appealing compared to the PRX of Tissot. I think the design is better, more angular, lesser faceted but better sized, with a build quality which feels at least equally good as the PRX, not to mention their in-house movement. Although this is not a genta design inspired, it is built based on Gerald's principles. If you actually look at the integrated sport watches in general, besides the integrated lugs which ensures continuity on the wrist, looking like a bracelet, they are all relying on the pattern from the dial, offering a foreground rhythm against simplistic hands and markers. The case design actually being the star of the show. Of course, this model suffered a lot of facelifts, creating a split between the Micro-Rotor version, the Wristmaster, and this automatic Urban Traveler. Now, when I unboxed the watch, I was actually excited to see this integrated bracelet Urban Traveler, because I read, seen and heard a lot of good things about it, and compared to that 596 price paid, I was really impressed by the quality. It feels well built and well engineered, everything it feels it's happening with a reason. The case is nicely made, and I know the Micro-Rotor version is slimmer than this one, having more pronounced chamfers. This one feels thicker, like a block of steel, but sculpturally it is nicely trimmed and shaped. And although they share pretty much the same design, I'm expecting a difference in how the watch wears. This is a well-designed watch based on an octagon which feels very unitary, has logic, proportions, and that attracts me and lures me to put it on the wrist in the favor of other watches. The finishing consists in a linear vertical brush which is continued from the case to the bezel and then towards the lugs, following the bracelet, having some discrete polished chamfers here and there. On the right hand side, the outer shape is trimmed to host the crown, remaining partially semi-burdened in the case without being screwed in, but still ensures 10 bars as waterproofness. And from the front we can look at the bezel, which is generous. It is octagonal but slightly curved to break the angled facets. Has nice highly polished chamfers as well to break the brushing rhythm. There are some inner decorative engravings to add a bit of complexity to the bezel. They say it's inspired from the Sous-Marine quartz model of the 80s, but I couldn't find any references. On the bezel as decorations, normally Genta was prefilling them with screws to unveil an industrial vibe to his creations, and I think they look cool. They naturally provide a distinct recognizable element to this Yema Urban line with this touch. This watch is offered or was offered in 3 color combos. It was white, it was like a salmon color, faded pink, or this light blue version. My choice was blue for obvious reasons. I like the color, and the dial of this Urban Traveler is equally interesting as the case is built. We have that light blue color of the dial with an hexagon diamond pattern or honeycomb. Initially I thought the color was a tad more brighter and fresh, but in reality the tone is a fade blue without any reflective pigments to make the color pop. Overall, I appreciate the color, especially with the pattern combo, which I find it as a good base for the hands and the markers. The markers are very nice, basically some loomed baguettes outlined in metal, doubled at 12 o'clock to basically indicate the top of the watch. The idea of floating hands is very nice. The base is colored in the same matte fade blue tone as the dial, leaving the rest of the hands on a highly polished finishing. I appreciate how discreet the hands are and the sizing ratio against the markers, they are correctly built. But overall not extremely spectacular if you isolate them, but as a whole they look very good in relationship with the case. This is exactly how Genta was designing his watches. He was taking in account the whole composition, he didn't put emphasis on such small elements, but looking at things as a whole. He was balancing his design, looking at the entire watch, including the bracelet also. And this is how this traveler feels. There is a lume and a consistent one, I'd say. I appreciate the BGW9 tone, which feels even against the hands. I think this touch shows attention to the details and quality ensured by the brand. If we flip the watch, the medallion of the back case is quite nice, well embossed. I don't think I've ever seen such a cool engraved case back on other watches, regardless the price. As specs, this watch measures 39mm in diameter with 43.5mm as lug tip to lug tip, 11.4mm in height, having 24mm as the extremities of the lugs. We have a raised sapphire crystal to ensure more light, a non-screen crown which ensures 10 bars as waterproofness. We have solid Swiss Super Luminova on the markers and the hands, and inside we have the in-house caliber Yema 2000, which is a no-date movement made in France and destined to replace the ETA or Celita engines. The brand says it optimized some of the parts for better accuracy, resulting in a reported accuracy of ±10 seconds per day. This movement beats at 4 Hz and stores up to 42 hours power reserve. The initial price of this model was €870, but discounted 1 month ago for €596. A still, in my opinion, a solid built watch from an independent French brand. Moving into the bracelet, the invisible bracelet is good looking, it's raw but well executed, it feels like chainmail, especially with the pronounced brushing finishing. On a wrist roll we can preview how nice the brushed links are interacting with the light, unveiling quite a premium look. I wish the bracelets had more taper and to make the clasp narrower and to create a bigger ratio between the clasp and the watch head. But although it is taperless or less tapered, I think it works with the robust case, leaving also a discreet signature of the brand on the clasp. And of course, I'm also waiting for Yema to launch strap alternatives for this model. It is a pity to not have at least a rubber or leather for this one. As wearability, and as mentioned, the watch is solid built, looks very good on the wrist, although we don't have a severe taper. The nicely sculpted case looks nice in the relationship with the bracelet. Once adjusted properly, the watch sits nice on the wrist, if you're lucky to be in the adjusting links of the bracelets. I am somewhere in between. I guess that's it. Hope you enjoyed this episode, but also hope you enjoyed this model. I was quite impressed by the quality level, also by the price asked, and I'm really curious to know what do you think about it. Please let me know in the comments below. And as usual, if you're new around, please consider subscribing for future episodes. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching, and until next time, be brave and stay safe, my friends.